Hey Leos, how are you doing? So we're going to talk about Uranus moving from Taurus into Gemini. And this will be happening in late April. So this is really, you're feeling it now. If you see this before the end of April, it'll be, I think, very obvious in your life even now, before the end of April and for the next 8 years or so. You're going to be experiencing this transit, but really for the whole past year, the themes have been in your life for what is happening with Uranus in your chart. So in your chart, Leo, and this is particularly true for Leo rising, but it's also on a different level true for Leo sun and moon. So you could read it all those ways, but the parts of the chart that are most impacted really have to do with the rising sign. So if you don't know your rising sign, there are a lot of chart creators online. The main thing for a rising sign is you need to know the time that you were born. If you don't know the time you were born, then you can just go by your sun sign and moon sign. So anyway, so Leo's Uranus has been in Taurus for everybody. It's been in Taurus for the last 8-ish years. And or the influence has been there for 8 years. And so that area of your chart is called the 10th house, because this is just happens to be for a rising Leo. Or, again, you could be reading it by the sun or the moon. It hits this area of the chart called the 10th house, where Taurus is in your chart. That has to do with your authority figures, parents, how people see you from afar, people outside your tiny close circle. So your close circle of friends or your close family members is like your inner circle, like the smaller inner circle. But on the outside that circle, how do people see you? And especially the further and further away you get from that little inner circle. How do people see you and how willing are you to be seen? Leos usually are okay with being seen to some degree. They still get nervous, they still doubt themselves, but they still can hide sometimes. But on the whole, Leos are comfortable with being seen, but they still have their human foibles, like yeah, Leos too, even though there's a lot of hype out there, like, oh, Leos are, just totally confident and blah, blah, blah. It's not true at all. Leos definitely have things about themselves that they don't like. They don't want everybody to see all parts of themselves because they have embarrassment and the same feelings every other sign has. And so, Leo, even though people talk about your confidence and you can appear to have confidence, and sometimes you really do, you have so much courage. Being comfortable in your own skin is a lifelong journey. And with Uranus having been in this area of your chart for the last 7 to 8 years, you have been learning how over this period of time to feel more comfortable in your own skin, sometimes through challenges that were difficult, and kind of allowing more parts of yourself to be seen, being vulnerable when you didn't want to be vulnerable. So it's not necessarily that it's been an easy journey to feel more comfortable in your own skin. It could have been through some shakeups and challenges and a willingness or unwillingness to let yourself be seen outside your little inner circle. So, it's been a journey. It's also, so it's impacted your parents, maybe for some of you over the last, kind of around 8 years. It could have even been slightly more than 8 years, or it's not like 8 years ago today, but within that time frame. There could have been some parental issues that impacted your life and how you see yourself out in the world. You could have had some job changes, name changes, it's all this outer stuff that people see about you. It also can do with socially, how you move through social circles, more visibly. It's hard, sometimes it's hard to find the right language to explain that one because it's not always seen as a social house, it's more as like just a very more public house area of your chart. But it's very outward. So the way you see your profession, so some of you, like maybe you have a day job, maybe you don't, but maybe you have a hobby that's become more like a profession. You take it more seriously. So it's less of a hobby and more of a profession. You may have dabbled in some stuff that now seems more like it's your identity. I know some people who are artistic who are Leos who are not necessarily comfortable in their own skin. In the art world, they hesitate to call themselves artists, even though they're really brilliant and creative. And they struggle to be seen that way and to profess that that's who they are, that like they're a creative and they're an artist. They struggle with that identity, even though everybody else sees them that way. And so the journey for, I'm thinking of one person in particular right now, for that person has been to see themselves like, oh, I guess I am an artist, and finally taking that on socially so that people are like, yeah, that person's an artist. Now where Uranus is headed is into Gemini. And Gemini, oh, let me say one more thing about Gemini. I mean, sorry, Uranus in Taurus. A big part of everyone's journey over the last 8 years has been releasing things that feel solid and comfortable, like traditional, institutional things that you thought you could cling to for comfort and security and maybe financial security, security about who you are in the world, security, maybe some family security, things that you were clinging to, you thought were forever things, and would always be there for you and somehow have something to do with your stability, have gone. And somehow they've been shaken up and you no longer have that feeling of solidity and security. For some, it could be within a job. For some, it could be with parents. It could be with just who you are. Like you may have thought of yourself as one way, and if I'm this way, I'll be stable and comfortable. But then you had to be more authentic because Uranus causes you to be more authentic wherever it is. So somehow you had to be more your authentic self. And that felt less stable, less traditional, less comfortable, less solid. And so so you've had to let go of some things. And sometimes it's like by, like clinging and like to the point your fingernails are falling off, clinging to things you thought would keep you safe and comfortable, having to finally let go. And that may, for some, it may still be a letting go in April. Because I'm recording this at the very end of March, and it's not like on the day that Uranus goes into Gemini, that's when all the dramatic stuff happens, not necessarily, and not maybe if at all, because you've actually felt this in this region for a long, over a year. You've been feeling this and in a process of letting go. And even before, like the whole past 8 years, you've been letting go, but maybe more dramatically over the last year, letting go of some preconceived notions about yourself and what makes you safe. And learning to kind of by force sometimes trust that you'll be okay. And now, as Uranus goes into Gemini, this placement for Uranus is far more comfortable than it has been for everybody on the planet. It's a more comfortable place. And I would say for you in particular, this area of the chart, it's just a comfortable area of the chart. It's a comfortable sign for Uranus. And there's this harbinger kind of luck that as we enter this age, this new earth kind of place where we are, Venus is with Uranus as we enter. It has just passed over. And also Uranus is in harmony with other transpersonal planets. And so there's a lot of good here that I see, but I know because I live in it and I experience it too, that the world is a troubled place right now. So it could be difficult to conceive of and believe that everything's like, oh, this good stuff is happening. This new great thing is happening. This bigger, greater era is coming in for, my life personally, your life personally, the world, because it looks so much the opposite out there in the world. And I don't know what your life, some of you are going to be feeling like you're kind of comfortable and in a good place, and life is pretty good overall. And then some of you are feeling like the world is ending, and then there's people in all the gray area in between. And so it just depends on what country you live in, what region you live in, what's going on in your family, what's going on for you and your health, what's going on in your closest relationships, what's going on in your profession, your career. Each one of you is going to be different, Leo, but overall, the direction overall, again, it may be hard to trust this. Overall, on a spiritual level and even a physical level, you're moving in a way, you're being helped to move in a way that you need to move through life. And it can feel sometimes really hard to trust that, really, really hard. And it seems like all evidence is against that. And I understand that feeling. Believe me, I do. I mean, I'm a rising Leo, so, but for all signs, this is the state of the world right now where it could be really hard to believe that things can improve, that there's hope, that there could ever be peace or whatever. It's a tricky time right now. And I don't want to sugarcoat or dust over that at all. It's there. Still and yet, the way the astrology reads is for the long term, we are headed in a good direction. Now, transpersonal planets move at a very slow rate, and planets in general, the moon, I mean, the moon's, the fastest in our like orbit, but you know, planets, they move more slowly than humans, one could argue. Like humans zip about, like little ants, and even smaller, little molecules compared to, the heavens and the planets and the stars. They're moving much more slowly. And I mean, in actual miles per hour, they're moving fast, but from a human perspective, they move much more slowly. So the scale of time is very different. And so, and we're also, in addition to that, we've been trained through the world we live in right now to expect things very quickly, instant gratification. So in addition to just being on a different time scale than a planet, just as a human, we are trained to want everything instantly. And so it can be so hard to trust, given these factors, that what looks like a total shit show and dumpster fire, and what for some, doesn't even have humor, it just looks like the end of the world. How could anything good be happening? And we just need to state that, but when I look at this, I do see hope and good things coming. And I have to train myself to trust this too, because my eyes and ears may say something different. And so I want to not falsely reassure you, but I want to help you try to find some hope, some trust, some faith, at least in yourself, if nothing else. Because when you can't cling to anything in the outer world, or even ideas anymore, there is a part of you inside of yourself that you can trust. And that part of yourself that you can trust is also tied to something much larger that you also can trust. And so it's there, but sometimes it's really hard to connect to. And but anyway, let's move. I just wanted to it's just so hard to do any kind of reading without addressing the elephant in the room, which is the world we live in right now. But as Uranus goes into this new area of your chart, it's far more comfortable, as I said, in Gemini. It is in harmony with these other transpersonal planets. And it has this nice harbinger of having Venus having just gone through. And they're just all there's just good looking things here. And for you as a Leo, what you'll be focused on and able to do over the next 7 to 8 years, and what you have a tiny taste of over the last year, even if it is hard to connect to and really hang on to, because you can't really hang on to anything right now. It's just the way it is. But you have had glimmers of this, and you'll continue. The glimmers will get stronger and stronger in this region of your life, the way you live your life. And this region has to do with the 11th house and where Gemini hits your chart and where Uranus is going to enter at the end of April. It has to do, the area of your chart has to do with your future. It's future forward, and Uranus loves future forward energy. It's if one of the planets is about the future, it's Uranus. If there's a house in your chart, which means simply an area of your chart that has to do with the future, it's the 11th house. So the 11th house with the planet of the future in there, it's all about looking forward and being future oriented, new ideas, new places to go, new directions, new people, and most especially new people. And really focusing on who you're hanging out with, who you surround yourself with, who. Because for you to have your future unfold in a way that does feel good, does feel hopeful, does feel maybe more calm, more peaceful, more supportive, all the good things, and have your life go in this direction that I want to, it's so hard to steer clear of words like good and bad and better or worse. But just for simplicity, I find, and brevity, it's kind of like we have to go there, but for your life to flow in a direction that feels more true to you and reflects your more authentic direction and your authentic self, who you hang out with, who you let influence you is just, you've got to be really aware, have some awareness and intentionality around that. And because it will matter. These are the people who will open doors or not, or close doors. So you want to be around the right people. How do you know they're right? Well, when you're around them, you feel good about yourself and you have a relaxed or fizzy and like a good kind of energy in your body. Maybe you're not relaxed, but maybe you're fizzy, excited, scared, or scare-sighted. But it's like a fizzy, buoyant, lighter energy. And you feel somewhat either energized or calmed down in a pleasant way, not like they've sucked all your energy out and you have to lie down afterwards, but you feel calm and cleared out, or you feel kind of fizzy, excited, scare-sighted, like what's possible, a sense of curiosity. If you feel that way without a drop, like almost like a drug where you drop, after the drug ends, you kind of have a fall. It's kind of monitoring how people affect you is the same way food would affect you, or alcohol would affect you, or a drug would affect you. You kind of need to look at people that way now. I mean, it's true for everybody all the time. I think everybody should be kind of, but it's a great way to notice that you're ingesting people in a weird way, not, through your mouth, but you're ingesting their energy. You're ingesting their energy, whether you want to or not. It's flowing through you. You're subject to it. So notice how people impact you. Because there are people, the reason I want to make this distinction is there are people who can make you feel like very charismatic people, charismatic leaders, cult leaders. They can make you feel kind of weirdly elated and dissociated from yourself, and create a sense, almost like a drug is like this false sense of euphoria or temporary sense of euphoria. And then you crash if you're away from it, or if you try to get away from it, there's this bad experience. So they're kind of false ways of feeling temporarily good. So with people can be like that too. Some people can feel really excited. It's like, if you're dating and you're dating like I'm just going to go to a ridiculous stereotype just for brevity, but like the good person versus the like kind of bad boy or bad girl versus like the like the rock solid like guy next door, girl next door versus like kind of the more dangerous kind of choice. The danger, more quote unquote dangerous kind of choice, like the rebel or whatever, might have this like infusion of energy and intrigue, but then, you know, they leave chaos in their wake. And so people, you know, it's people and groups of people can be like that, where it's ultimately chaos and destruction, but there's like this excitement around it and like this charisma around certain kinds of people who are actually bad for you or groups of people bad for you. So it's learning to distinguish who you are as a person, as your authentic self, feeling comfortable in your own skin, and then finding people who continue to help you feel comfortable in your own skin. Like you can come and go freely, and they're always there for you, supportive, and they don't drain your energy. It's not like a weird high when you're with them and then you fall and crash. You know, it's just kind of steady and support, loving support. So if you can identify people in groups like that, who may currently be in your life, keep them, you know, keep those people in your life, hold them tight, or not too tight because it's Uranus and you want to let people come and go freely. But you're going to be looking for the authentic people to match your authentic self. And you'll have a lot of luck with that. So if you're on the lookout and you know that's what you're doing, you'll have a lot of luck with that. And, you know, these people can open doors for you and help you as your future unfolds. And a lot of Leos may have been feeling like, and this is an uncharacteristic way for a Leo to feel, but a lot of Leos may have been feeling uncharacteristically unable to understand what they want for their future. Like they just kind of felt fog and nothingness when they looked at like, where do you want to be in 3 years? Or what do you want to do? A lot of you, even though historically you've been very direction oriented and you know what you want, could have been just kind of like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what I want. I don't know where I want to be. Increasingly over the coming months, you're going to have more of a sense of direction, more understanding about how you want your life to unfold, where you want to go. And some of this it'll come in very Uranian ways sometimes. It's not like a slow, gentle unfolding. It's more like big flashes of lightning, earthquakes, but they could be good. Like, I don't know about you, I like watching electrical storms. And so, you know, lightning can be beautiful. Sorry, I'm trying to get control of my chair. Lightning can be beautiful and exciting and illuminating. And so, but it's like in a flash, you may see something or know something, or an opportunity may come in like a flash. A person may come in like a flash. A group of people may come in like a flash or an earthquake, but in a good way, ultimately. So a lot of your future, it's not like a gentle, you know, kind of airy-fairy unfolding that feels like an Enya song, but it's going to feel a little more jarring sometimes, or unpredictable. Like Uranus is, if it's anything, it's unpredictable, but it's predictable in its unpredictable nature. You'll be attracted to people who are Uranian in nature, good communicators, quick thinkers, intelligent people. Um, you've always been attracted to intelligent people and good communicators. That's a part of the Leo mental makeup. But increasingly, you're going to be really drawn into circles of people or individuals who are highly intelligent, forward thinking, progressive in nature, non-traditional. Even if you've been very traditional or conservative in some way, you're going to be increasingly out of your comfort zone and drawn to more progressive ways of being in the world. And for some people, like if you've already been progressive, that may seem like, oh, I'm already there, but it's going to be increasingly true. You'll see. Like I can't explain it, but it'll be more so, and it maybe take you in unusual, unexpected places and down paths you would not have seen. Because, like I said, if Uranus is predictably unpredictable. And so even if you've already been progressive like me, and it's like, well, I already have like a lot of progressive friends, but this is amplified, it's taken up many notches and in ways you never could have foreseen. That much we know. And I think for you, even though there'll be shocks to the system, Uranus is just like that. Maybe changes in friends. It depends on how healthy your friend circle is and your community is. I already feel like I have, like you're not necessarily dropping friends. I know a lot of astrologers say that, and some people need to. They say that because some people need to drop the people they're with. It depends on who you're hanging out with already. But I would say if you already feel like you're with healthy people, maybe you just expand your circle, your community gets bigger, and really your way forward in a way that feels good for you will involve expanding your community. Like that's a very healthy thing for you to be doing right now, is to expand your community and be open to that. And be looking for that even is the way forward for you right now. And especially, it's got to feel authentic to you, who you really are. Expanding that network will help you and open doors and give you the sense of kind of just where you want to take your, and there's this very, what do I want to say? They like used to have like the salons of Paris where people are like hanging out, having great ideas, and there are all these great painters. And it's kind of like those are the kinds of people you want to be around. Those are the places you want to go. You're going to be in a heady mix of artists, creatives, forward thinkers, inventors. Those are your people. But it could be like some people are more oriented toward science, some people are more oriented toward quilting. It just depends on your own interests in life. It's not like somebody who has no interest in science is suddenly going to be hanging around scientists, or somebody who has no interest in progressive quilting is going to be hanging out with progressive quilters. But it's just based on your own personality. But progressive is kind of the word, and open-minded and forward thinking. Those are your people. And in unexpected ways, it's going to be surprising, because again, that's the one thing we can predict about Uranus, is it's going to be surprising. We can't predict it entirely. But remember that, when times are dark and things feel really hard to understand, you feel like you're in that dark wood and lost, you can go inside and find like this oasis inside yourself of peace and calm. And from there, you can kind of plug into the sense of being connected. And that's just going to be your way forward when it does feel really shaky and like you have to let go of things that feel stable. So remember, there's this pool of infinite calm and oasis-like energy inside of you at all times. So just remember, if it feels really scary out there and things are too surprising, and change is happening fast, and maybe the world doesn't look so great, you just plug in to that part of you, and that'll kind of get you, kind of right your ship, so to speak, and so that you can be this forward facing, kind of more visionary, like there's a lot of visionary quality to who Leos are right now. And just, for you to plug into that, you need to first calm yourself and soothe yourself, despite the fact that the world is a mess. So just remember, you have that capacity at all times to plug into that more stable, quiet, peaceful, supportive, loving energy inside yourself at all times. Even if it sometimes feels hard to find it, it's there. All right, take care, guys.